Hello and welcome to another episode of the C&m Show, Series 5, Episode 4.
Yes, that's right. Doctor Who to do some.
Yes, continuing on from last time, finishing off with the Doctor Who novel, The Smugglers, plus the second, another novel from Galaxy 4.
Then we got the Doctor Who's Battle in Time.
Yes, Doctor Who Battle in Time, and Doctor Who Race to the TARDIS.
Oh,
It's an all Doctor Who special.
All Doctor Who, baby.
Yep.
All Doctor Who.
So, we start with finish where we left off last time.
Of the Smugglers.
Of the Smugglers. Let's see. Let's go to chapter 12.
Chapter 12.
So, chapter 12, The Treasure. The Doctor regarded the threatening blade with his usual calm dignity. I think we both agreed on that, Captain. Pike lowered his blade. You'll tell me the secret, of course. It was always my intention to tell you. Is that why you fled my ship? I had no choice. My friends were in danger. Aye, the two lads. Where have they got to? Where have they got to, Sawbones? Tell him nothing, croaked the squire. Pike looked down at him. Still alive, my fine gentleman. Aye, I'll live to see you hang, Pike. Think you so, squire? Said Pike, and raised his sword. Stop, ordered the Doctor. I made a bargain with you. Don't you want to keep it? Speak on, growled Pike. I will still keep my side of the bargain, Captain, but if I may, I'd like to change the terms.
I'd like to change the terms. Right. Down under the beach, Spaniard was bored. He and another pirate called Daniel, also on a boat duty, while only one sober by now, and the sound of the carousing from the cliff top told them they were missing. There was a cave mouth near the boat were beached, and the Spaniard wandered into it, and he explored. Minutes later, he was back on the beach, tugging Daniel's sleeve, urging him to come and see. Shrugging, Daniel followed. Spaniard led him to the strange blue box. There is a mysterious standing on it just inside the cave entrance. The two pirates studied it, walked all around it, tapped and prodded it, and gave up. Totally baffled, the Spaniard grabbed Daniel's sleeve again, showing him that the cave turned into a kind of tunnel running on behind the TARDIS and the cliffs. They began to explore. Strange terms indeed, Doctor, said Pike. Human terms, I should say, replied the Doctor. You'll want none of the gold. I should rather not touch it. Scared of Avery's curse, eh? My reasons are not to concern you, Captain. I doubt if you'll understand them. The point is that I gave up all of the claim to the gold, which I could deliver immediately. If I keep my lads away from the village, precisely, there is no reason for the innocent to suffer. Well said, Doctor, whispered the squire feebly. I like on my lads be happy, said Pike thoroughly. They work better. When they are allowed their fun, you will have Avery's treasure and our contraband store as well. You villain, said the squire, will not let that content you. We have an uneasy conscience, Do we, Squire? Snarled Pike. You lily-livered rogue! You dare call me a villain? I have been a rogue too. I feebly admit it, and it was generosity, although the stranger shames me. But I had never spilled blood in my villainy, I beg you. As a fellow rogue, if you will, to spare my poor villagers. Pike shrugged, unmoved. Well, my lads have the killing fever of that blood. Its only blood will slake it. Senseless destruction, said the doctor wearily. By the way, it's by the way, there being a pastime with them. Why should I stop it? Could you stop it? Channeled the Squire. Or would you rather let them run mad than test their obedience? No man of my crew defies me in lives. They do as I bid or die of it. Then prove it, said the doctor. Accept my terms. Very well, said Pike at last. Well, pack and go once the gold is mine. I suppose I must trust you, said the doctor drearily. You must, doctor. And heed of the fate of Shiro yonder. Oh, don't worry. I won't try to trick you as he did. Then out with it, doctor. Show me the gold. Come on, Polly, urged Ben. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. He was
hurrying her down the steep rocky tunnel. Suddenly Polly stumbled on the uneven floor. Ouch! You okay, Duchess? She tried her ankle and found she could walk. I think so. How much further? About another 100 yards just round that bend. Why don't you go back and get the doctor then? Excuse me. Ben was tempted. Sure, you'll be alright? Of course I will. No hurry, I'll see you back in the TARDIS. Ben handed her the key. Okay, put the kettle on. He hurried back the way they came, limping a little. Polly moved ahead. There were 4 names in the church ward's riddle, said the doctor. Ringwood, Smallbeer, Gurney, and Deadman. All names of Avery's old crew, said Pike. I thought a thought struck him. How come they buried here? They died at sea, every last one of them. The original names were no doubt altered by the church warden, said the doctor briskly. Pike was beginning to understand as a marker like that is correct, said the doctor, like a teacher with a dim pupil. Now the name plaques for the 4 names are here, 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 and here. And as you can see, they form 4 corners of a square. Now if we draw in the imaginary lines for the direct diagonals of that square, they intersect on this flagstone here. As you can see, it is loose. I think this is what you seek. Stand back, ordered Pike hoarsely. Wedging his hook in the chink of the flagstones, he heaved mightily, and the flagstone slowly lifted. When the gap was wide enough for his fingers, Pike heaved it to his side to reveal a square of blackness. What's this? I can see nothing. He groped inside the hole. How deep is it? What have you found? Asked the doctor. Nothing, damn your eyes. No. What's this? Pike straightened up, pulling back his arm. Dangling from his hook was a huge rope of pearls. Oh, what now? Breathed Pike. What a price that damned Avery now. Suddenly the sound of pistol or musket shot came down the stairs, together with fierce yells and clash of steel. What's that? snarled Pike. If this is a trap, old Sawbones, you'll end up under the stone yourself. He ran up the stairs, yelling, Ahoy there! What in hell's the Answer me, Gaptooth. Damn your eyes.
Damn your eyes. Right. In the churchyard, one-sided battle was raging. It was one-sided because Pike's men, drunk and out of their element, had been taken completely by surprise by Blake and his military men. In ordered rank, the soldier knelt, fired, reloaded, and fired again. Rank by rank, it turned so that there was continuous weather and fire. The pirates fought bravely, but haphazardly. They blazed away with pistols, usually missing, and found they had no more ammunition. They made wild screaming charges under the waving their cutlasses. They were calmly and efficiently shot down and bayoneted by the stolid soldiers. The pirates, depending for their successes on their fear they inspired in the opponents. They were usually ordinary merchants, seamen, or the terrified inhabitants of the coastal towns. It was rare that they encountered trained and disciplined troops, and they just weren't up to it. Not a single one of them made it back to none of their ships. Finally, a desperate railguard fell back into the vestry itself, and the fort vigilantly to hold it. Remorselessly, the soldiers started to close in. Polly soon emerged on the beach outside of the cave. She stood there for a moment, enjoying the evening air. Suddenly, two pirates emerged out of the shadows. Polly screamed and ran. She dodged back into the cave, instinctively headed for the sanctuary. Ben, help me! She screamed. But she was still slowed down by her limp, and soon the leading pirate, in fact, was a Spaniard, caught up with her and flung her to the ground, standing over her with a drawn cutlass. The second pirate ran up, and Polly, captor, waved him on. Knife in hand, the second pirate headed up to the tunnel. In the distance, Ben heard the faint echo of Polly's scream. He turned and raced back down the tunnel. He approached the far end when he heard someone moving stealthily along the tunnel, ducking behind a fallen rock. Ben saw the approaching pirate creep towards him, a knife in hand, crouching. Ben let the pirate run past him. Ben leaped out and struck him down behind, leaping over the pirate's unconscious body. Ben ran back down to the tunnel. Polly had got over her shock by now, and was feeling angry. Suddenly, she leaped to her feet and tried to run away. Her captor grabbed her, and they grappled furiously. Polly tried to call for help. A grimy hand was clapped over her mouth, and she bit it hard. Suddenly, Ben shot down the tunnel and hurled himself into the struggling pair. Both were knocked off their feet. The sword flew over the pirate's hand, clattering on the rocks. Ben kicked it further away, but by the time the pirate was on his feet and the knife in hand, seizing the knife wrist, Ben grappled with him. The battle outside of the church had entered in a new phase, and few surviving pirates had barricaded themselves in a church vestry, and were provided difficult to dislodge. Suddenly, Blake had a bright idea. Leaving most of the militant men was to lay siege to the church. He detached a handful of them and then led them away from the church and down the path to the beach. Ben was putting up a vigilant fight, but the pirate was older and stronger, the experienced dirty fighter, and he had a knife. Half-stunned Ben with a savage headbutt the pirate raised his knife for the kill. Suddenly a shot rang out, and the pirate fell back dead. Struggling to his feet, Ben saw Blake with a military man running along the beach. Polly ran to meet them. "Mr. Blake! Oh, thank heavens you come!"
"Stand aside," said Blake briskly. "Our work lies above." He led his men into the cave. "I'm with you, mate," called Ben. "Stay by the TARDIS, Polly. We'll meet you there later." He ran off after Blake and the soldiers. The pressure of the militia attack had forced the pirates out of the vestry, and the battle was now raging on the steps that led down to the crypt. A struggling mass of soldiers and pirates surged and through the steps. For once the pirates had something of an advantage there. There was no room for effective use of muskets or even bayonets. The pirates' knives were coming into their own. All too frequently a soldier fell stabbed by an opponent who could scarcely see, let alone reach. Pike was crouching by a raised flagstone that gave access to the treasure, fishing out pearls and diamonds and gold bracelets with his hook, stuffing them into a little chest he'd found in the vestry cupboard. All the time he was shouting encouragement to his men, who were buying him time to loot to loot with their lives. "Fight, you black-hearted scum! There's gold for all if we can but reach the ship." The doctor, meanwhile, frantically trying to open the entrance to the tunnel to the beach. However, since he hadn't really paid attention when Ben found it, he found he couldn't find the section of the molding that released the secret catch. Suddenly the tomb seemed to move of its own accord, and the doctor was swept aside as Blake and his militiamen poured out of the tunnel, attacking the pirates in the rear. Pike looked up and realized what was happening. "Sawbones, Jim Neptune's curse," he yelled. "You've led me into a trap. For that you'll die by my hook." With fierce determination he began battling his way towards the doctor, kept apart from him by the struggling figures all around, backing away. The doctor stumbled over the body of a semi-conscious squire and fell headlong, picking himself up. He found himself facing Ben, who emerged from the tunnel in the wake of Blake and the soldiers. "Are you alright, Doctor?" "Perfectly, thank you, but I'm worried about the squire. We must get him out of here." While Pike was struggling to reach the doctor, Blake was struggling to get to Pike. "Captain Pike, surrender, I say," he bellowed. "And lose Avery's gold? Never." He brandished his hook at the doctor. "I'm coming for you, Sawbones. See if your tricks can save you now." Suddenly the final stages of the battle came close to them, and Ben found himself swept away from the doctor. At the same moment Pike burst through the crowd. He raised his hook. "Here's an end to you, Sawbones, damn your eyes." Somehow, despite his wound, the squire managed to haul himself to his feet. With the last vestiges of his strength, he caught Pike's hook arm, and held it for a moment. The two men were locked, poised, just enough for Blake to raise his pistol, take careful aim, and fire. Pike staggered backwards, reeled for a moment, and then crashed forward like a felled tree. His hook arm was flung out before him, reaching the overturned chest, half filled with Avery's treasure. With the death of Pike, the heart went out of the pirates, and the few still alive fighting surrendered. The doctor caught Ben's eye, and they began sidling towards the entrance to the tunnel. Blake was kneeling by the squire. "Fear not, squire, the day is ours now." He looked around. "Where's the old man and the doctor and his young friends? We owe them our thanks." But the doctor, Ben, and Polly were nowhere to be seen. Blake moved to the tunnel entrance and said quietly, "Godspeed, old man." Then he turned away. There was much to be done. Polly was waiting anxiously by the TARDIS when Ben's voice called, "Polly, are you there?" She saw Ben and the doctor coming down the tunnel towards her, battle weary but apparently unharmed. "Thank heavens you're both safe. Are you all right, Doctor?" The doctor staggered, but put out of his hand to steady himself. "I'm quite all right, my child, just a little exhausted." Polly opened the TARDIS door and they went inside. A few minutes later, the blue box faded away. Inside the TARDIS, Ben was giving Polly an account of their adventure. She shuddered at the story of the doctor's narrow escape from Pike's hook. "Still, Blake's mob beat them in the end," concluded Ben. Polly said slowly, "And now they're all dead. The church warden, Cooper, Cherub, Pike, and all the ones who wanted Avery's treasure." The doctor was leaning back in his chair, his eyes half closed. "Superstitions are very strange, you know, especially when you see them come true." Polly was watching the rise and fall of the central control column. "Where will we end up next, Doctor? Where will we go? Forward or back in time?" "I have no control over such things, my dear child," said the doctor airily. It had better be 1966 or I'm in dead trouble," said Ben. He brightened still, however, "whatever it is. It can't be worse than what we just been through in them old days." "It could be better," said the doctor. "On the other hand, it could be a great deal worse." He opened his eyes, smiled at them. "We shall just have to wait and see." Polly realized that the doctor had made one of the amazing recoveries. He was already looking forward to a new adventure. Funny enough, so was she. The central column already slowing its rise and fall. The doctor leaned forward, studying the console. Well, he said happily. We seem to be making another landing. And that is the end of the smugglers.
Yes. That's right. It is so.
Next, a reading of Galaxy 4.
Oh yeah. Galaxy 4.
We shall start with Chapter 1. Chapter 1. 400 Dawns. The Doctor was puzzled. He had brought the TARDIS back into the time and space, switched off the controls and turned on the external scanner, but as he moved the scanner from one angle to another, he grew more uneasy. It wasn't that there was anything particularly wrong about the landscape he was viewing, at least not within an experience. In fact, it was quite appealing, but there is something wrong out there, and he couldn't yet put his finger on exactly what it was. The terrain wasn't exactly welcoming, and he had to admit that it was black, bearing a strong resemblance to tarmac. But numerous cracks had appeared in the surface, and out of these trees and plant life had sprung in abundance. There were even flowers, through no evidence of how they were pollinated. You can see nothing even resembling a butterfly coming to that. There was no sign of a bird life either. He continued to stare intently at the screen behind him. Vicky was cutting Stephen's hair. Her dark eyes moved from the job in hand to stare intently at the Doctor. Arrived, have we?
Arrived, have we? The Doctor's attention remained on the screen. We have, my dear. Stephen raised his head from the angle in which Vicky had tilted it. Good. Where? Ah, the Doctor examined the control panel. Somewhere in the Galaxy 4. I don't know exactly where, I'm afraid, but there's something not quite right about it. Stephen stood up and he and Vicky crossed the console room and then joined the Doctor and staring at the screen. Neither overly impressed. Vicky did not care about the black surface, though Stephen did find a redeemed feature on the plants. It tousled the fair hair where Vicky had been clipping and looked more closely. There was something distinctly odd about the scene, something missing. He felt uneasy like the Doctor, and he could see no sign of animal life. And there was something else. After all, life could be underground, or even concealed somewhere in the greenery. So what was it? Could you put a little sound on, please, Doctor? The sound checked his instrument and made an adjustment. It is on, full now. They all listened intently and heard not a sound. The silence was quite overpowering. They could almost feel it. And there was no sound whatsoever. Not even a wind. The trio could hear their own breathing. And they could feel the beating of their hearts. Weird, whispered Vicky. But the Doctor was again surveying his instruments. Everything is in a satisfactory working order. He stood back inside. Atmospheric pressure temperature Oxygen, oxygen content, radiation, all satisfactory. He looked a little again at the scanner. I wonder if it's possible to have a planet so obviously conducive to life, yet without any. Well, I finished chopping Stephen's hair. Can we go out and see? The doctor shrugged. I don't see why not. There's just a chance when we might get some peace for a change. Stephen added dryly. Perhaps there even a river or a lake. Fancy a swim, Doctor? Young man, this is a scientific expedition, the doctor replied tartly. It pays always to be cautious. There's limit to... Steve broke off, and something banging in against the side of a TARDIS. They looked at each other steadily, and there was yet another bump. The doctor raised his hands for silence. Whatever it was continued to keep knocking against the TARDIS, proceeding along one side, then another. Obviously investigated the machine, and now they could hear something else. A curious chittering and jingling sound. Obviously emanating from the intruder. What is it? Vicky whispered. Something mechanical, the doctor answered. A robot of some sort. But why is the knocking? Stephen wondered. I would guess it's blind and it'd be perceived by touch, the doctor said. The knocking ceased and the intruder had completed its circuit of the TARDIS. And it felt silent and then heard it moving away.
Look, Vicky said, pointing at the screen. They followed her gaze and saw their visitor. It was a short, round structure made of some metallic substance that could not have stood much more than 4 feet in height. The body consisted of a round base and a rather larger main body with a smaller shoulder section. The facial section was a grille surmounted by a skull-like cap from which an antennae protruded. The grille contained what looked much like a gun. It came to a halt some 10 meters away and faced the TARDIS again. A series of coloured lights started flashing in its head and emitted a soft high note. The doctor was fascinated. He noted too that around the base there were a number of pear-shaped instruments which took to be sensors. It looks to me as though it's sending a message, Stephen said. The doctor nodded to its controllers, whoever they are. Stephen grimaced, or whatever they are. The robot was on the move again. It turned and began to trundle away. Vicky was still staring at it. Look how it moves, she said. It's got some sort of chumbly movement. Stephen stared at her in disbelief. Chumbly? Yes, can't you see? Her attractive face weakened as she nearly lost conviction. All sort of chumbly. Well, he's gone now, said the doctor said. But he was thinking how wrong he had been in deciding that there was no life on the planet. Not only was there life, but highly intelligent life at that. It took considerable technical skill and knowledge to bring into being a robot such as they had been watching. The question is, what sort of intelligence? He had encountered many varieties of intelligent life forms, and not all of them had been friendly. Well, there were only one way to find out. We'll have the doors open, he said. Stephen was recalling the doctor's previous words of caution. Would it be better if we wait here for a while? Those things might be dangerous. But the doctor ignored him. Pressed the control button and the door swung open. Picking up his stick, he made it for the open air, a strange but brave sight in his battered trousers and frock coat cravat fluttering about his neck, and his white hair not as tidy as it might have been. Vicky and Stephen exchanged a slightly worried glance, then followed. Once outside, the doctor breathed in deeply, and with enjoyment delightful, just the right oxygen content. And then, the flowers smell lovely, Vicky said. Stephen, however, was shielding his eyes and looking into the sky. I see we got 3 suns. I wonder which one we revolve around. The doctor finished locking the door of the TARDIS. It's quite possible that they revolve around us. He straightened his pocket. He straightened and pocketed the key. Glanced at Vicky, who was examining the flowers, then at the terrain surrounding them. It reminded him of a past experience. The silence is just like it was on planet Xeros. Vicky turned from examining the flowers. We haven't time track again, have we?
No, my child, not this time. He tilted his head to the side. I don't like the silence. Not at all. Doctor! The doctor and Stephen looked at her, then followed her with a pointed finger. A trembling had appeared from behind the TARDIS, and it was obviously sensing them. Lights were flashing on the grill of the one as well, but what made it decided ominous was whether its gun was pointed directly at them. Keep still, the doctor said. Don't do anything to alarm me. He moved cautiously near the machine, examining it carefully, ignoring his annoyance. Stephen also moved, but sideways, hoping to be able to do some damage once in an out-of-range gun. For the lack of a more inspiring to do, the doctor addressed the machine. We wish you no harm. We come in peace. The robot remained stationary and silent. I don't think it can speak, the doctor, Vicky said. But the doctor was still observing and noting that beneath the head grill was what looked very much to be a speaker. It had an unnecessary mesh covering which gave it every evidence that it was being a sound box. Why then did it remain silent? It didn't, however, remain silent for long. From it suddenly became a rapid chittering sound, like the tape had been run backwards at speed. Equally as suddenly it stopped. The doctor was fascinated. He had no idea what it was trying to say, or even if it was directed at them. It could just be as well transmitting a message back to its unknown controller. He remained still, but Stephen did not. Slowly he crouched to pick up a lump of a black rock. What he had not calculated upon was a slight sound, which he made in doing so. In a flash, the Chumbly backed a little and trained its gun at him. The doctor exasperated. "You idiot! I'm the one that tried to..." Yes, noble to you." The doctor cut in. "Now that the thing is on, it's gone, and we could be in deep trouble." He paused for a moment. "Interesting, though. Did you notice that it wasn't aware of what you were doing until you made a noise? So it's blind, but it can hear." Very accurately at that, the doctor added, "It might not have been located by heat waves or something by the sorts." Again came to the chittering sound of the chumpling moved forward, heading for the doctor. It reached him and nudged him. The doctor stepped back. It did the same again, pushing him back yet another step. Then it turned and headed for Vicky and Stephen, obviously intent on giving them the same treatment. "It's trying to get us to go somewhere," Vicky said. "Indeed," the doctor agreed. But stand still. Don't let it move you." The Chumbly nudged against them both in turn, and then they each stepped back into place as soon as the opportunity offered. It would have been a musing sight were it not for the gun constantly and guarded and constantly covered them. Finally, a Chumley backed away and remained still at the moment, clearly receiving the message. Then chittered briefly to itself and rotated the gun until it pointed at the same vegetation. The three looked on with trepidation as the brilliant white ray leapt out, occupied by an piercingly high shriek. It swept across the greenery and turned all into flame. Then a ray cut off, and then the gun turned back to them. It's neither a threat I ever saw," the doctor said. "We'd better do what one of the things wants." They grouped together and set off across the dark landscape in the direction of the Chumley had indicated. The Chumley came jinking after them. Then it scooted up to the front and then to the side, and then back behind them, for all of the world like a destroyer herding a convoy into a harbour. It occurred to the doctor that as well as guiding them, it seemed almost to be guiding them. It glanced again about him, but could still see no movement. Perhaps the thing was programmed to a certain pattern of behaviour and had no alternative to behave as it did.
The Ravens 1 and 2 watched the group approach the ledge on which they had hidden themselves. They were women. They had long blonde hair and would have been considered extremely attractive by any man, were it not for a total lack of warmth in their faces, which were straight and set, reflecting no emotion whatsoever. Both wore the same dark high-necked uniform dress, and each carried a gun, rather like a 20th century Earth machine gun. except that what came from the barrel could not possibly be bullets, where the man-made variety carried a bullet clip. These had a power pack. The Ravens held them confidently. And we shall leave it there.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll leave it in. And
now, battles in time. We haven't played this in quite a while.
I was like, how long?
Oh, quite a while.
Oh, this is good. I haven't played these for a while.
Nope.
Oh, they're like, how long?
Oh, can't even remember.
It's quite a lot.
Start off with 5 cards each.
Yep.
And I'll let you go first.
Thank you. Okay, so the first one I'm going to play is... I'm going with Fear Factor.
Yeah.
7,100. Pilot Fish 1. Fear Factor.
7,100.
Yeah.
Okay. Fear Factor 8,600. Possessed Ood 2.
Your turn. Right, your turn.
Okay. Special abilities.
Okay.
6,800 Naimon.
6,800 special abilities.
Yep.
Okay. Special abilities 8,600. The Destroyer.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Okay. The swap. Okay. Alright then. Agility 5,600. Nancy.
Agility 6,000 Private Gary. Grey. Sorry, Private Grey.
Private Grey.
Private Grey.
Yeah. Your turn. Okay. Alright. Your turn.
Stamina. 6,800 Sisters of Plentitude.
6,800.
Yep.
Uh, 6,700 Sea Devil.
Oh, close.
Oh, close.
But I win.
Close. Your turn again.
Right, let's go with intelligence this time. Intelligence 7,400 Sill.
7,400.
Yep.
$4,900. Trap sleeping. Your turn.
Let's go with special abilities 5,600 Mott.
5,600.
Yep.
7,200. The Wire. Feeding.
Oh.
Yes. Right. Your turn.
Sure.
Not my turn.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Intelligence.
Yep.
9,000. Omega.
Intelligence 9,000 Omega.
Hey!
We both had the
We both got the same ones! So, we gotta keep our cards.
That one is a draw.
So, we'll keep our cards. Alright, you go next.
Yep. Fear factor 5,100 Mr. Sneed. Zombie 5.
Fear factor.
Yep.
Fear factor 8,400. Zygon group.
Oh. You win that?
Yes. I am going for agility.
Yep.
4,700. Jackie Tyler.
Agility 4,700 the empty child.
What? 4,700.
Yeah.
We got drawn again.
We draw again.
You go. Alright, your turn.
Oh, okay. Fear factor 9,100. Davros is Dalek Emperor.
Davros is Dalek Emperor. Fear factor.
Yep.
Was 6,800 for Massey Group.
Thank you.
Damn you! Your turn.
Okay. Special abilities 8,100. Axon Man.
8,100. Stamina. Oh, special abilities.
Special abilities
Okay.
8,100.
8,600. The Destroyer.
Axonite. Turns Axon monsters boost special abilities to 8,300.
You're an ass. You're an ass. Oh. You're an ass.
But I can only use that boost card once, so that is used and done.
So it's your turn.
Intelligence 9,100. Age accelerated 10th Doctor.
I just accelerated 10th Doctor. Intelligence 1,400. Crabtree. Ugh. Ugh. Ugh.